Great, just have to message me if you want me. We're away.
Right, Deck, I'm out with you boys today. Whereabouts in the world are we?
We are in Bradwell, Staffordshire, just, I don't know, a couple of miles from Sandbach and Brereton.
And what are you boys doing today?
We'll double pumping today.
Is it all go now all of a sudden?
It is, yeah, it's been ever so busy this last few days, and we got a lot of work booked in.
Today you're double pumping, tell us a bit about that then.
Well, I've got a Bower on with an hydraulic loader. The lad on the middle pump, Jim, he's got a Ferrari on. We've got a 12 metre Mastek drill bar with a front reeler and about 2,000 metres of pipe. I think we're about 1,800 metres out just now and sort of getting 42,000 gallons an hour shifting currently.
So what's the reason for the double pumping then? Is that just because you're pumping quite a distance?
Yeah,
or?
that's it, yeah. Sort of have to, unless it's all downhill, you sort of want 2 pumps for such a distance.
So you're on contract for a dairy farm today, is that right?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Are you mainly contractors then, or are you farmers as well, or what's the situation?
We do everything, cover all aspects of contracting, from your mowing, your baling, your rowing up, tedding out, chopping, trailering, do a lot of pumping, cover your crimping and everything really. Slurry is a big part of the business. We do a lot of slurry pumping. We've got a lot of customers for slurry side of things. Like with this farm, we solely do the pumping. Most of the other farms, we do everything. We work very close to a fellow contractor as well, sort of we call them Beet team. They run a lot of kit and we have the tankers off them and they run with us and they help us during the grass season and put another chopper on or another rake or whatever we require
So tell us a bit about the dribble bar that you're running today.
We've got a 12 metre Mastek drill bar with a Mastek front reeler and a back reeler.
How long have you been running that machine?
4 years. Pleased
with it?
Yeah, it's a good piece of kit, it is, but we sort of don't go to many sandy farms, so the macerator stands the test of time sort of thing. You know, I'd imagine the lads that do sandier farms will get through a lot of pumps and bits of things. So.
What tractor are you running on the dribble bar today?
We got a 6R 195.
Is he running auto steer GPS system on the dribble bar tractor? Or?
He is, yeah.
Right.
He's running a Starfire 7000 ohm, so it's sort of one of the latest. I mean, we're only running SF1 at the moment. We've got a dome that's SF3, which is a paid contract to be a bit more accurate, but it's sort of within a few millimetres anyway, so it's very accurate and it's.
You get on well with it then?
Oh yeah, 100%, yeah. It's just the job really.
How long have you been running the system on the tractors?
Since the first tractor first John Deere come, because we used to be New Holland in 2016 we had a 175 first, 16 plate.
How come you moved away from the blues then?
Well, I mean, I've always been John Deere mad myself, but they'd had a few troubles with them, and sort of, you know, the comfort of these and the GPS system, I think they're pretty unbeatable really, and reliability. Like with the dealer standing by you, I think that's worth a lot as well.
You got a good dealer around here?
Yeah, good dealer. Corthwaite's is our local go-to at Nantwich, sort of a few miles away. They're very good. You know, if you have any problems or any breakdowns, they're straight out to you. If you need it, if you require another tractor, they've always got one there for you, or chopper.
But you still run a couple of blue machines, do you?
Yeah, we run a TL 100 on the straw chopper and a T5060 on the feeder wagon.
You just don't let them out the yard then?
no, that's it. They'll come out sometimes for the odd job if we need to go move some trailers about, but that's about
It's because you only want to be seen in this, really, don't you, with your fancy curtain and your flags.
That's it, yeah. You got to look the part, haven't you?
I suppose the GPS is handy for on the dribble well then, it'd reduce a few costs.
Absolutely, yeah, for precision. I mean, we use it across the board. I use it for everything really, me mowing, me tedding, me rowing up. The precision's just there with it, and I think the customers understand that it makes it a hell of a lot better, and you know it's cutting costs for them. And same with the dribble bar, we've got obviously a flow meter on it, so it tells you how many gallon per hour you shifted and everything else, and how much you've shifted in total, so you know we've got something to go back to at the end of the day and say we've shifted however much.
So can he alter his speed to that then, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's got its own, it tells you a guideline speed for your application. Obviously it'll work out how many gallons an hour is coming to you, how many gallons an hour you want to apply to the field. Do
you have to tell it that then? And
no, well, you adjust your speed on, it'll tell you, you know, sort of if you're doing 1.5k and you've got 40,000 gallons an hour coming at you, it'll tell you how much you're applying, so speed up or slow down. It's very good like that.
What are you putting on today?
I believe he's putting around 7,000 gallons an acre.
So how are conditions being this time round then, Deck? It's just starting to dry up now, is it?
Yeah, they've not been so bad. I mean, when the weather's a bit touchy, we sort of juggle the customers a bit as to who has drier ground. I mean, down Swinnerton where we go and places like that, it's very sandy and very dry, and you can sort of get on any time, but it varies really as to where we go. We are spreading maize stubble currently. We've done the grassland a few weeks back when we had a dry spell. I presume we are applying it to the maize stubble there for it to be ploughed and back into maize like.
How big's this lagoon that we're sitting on today then?
This one is about 2.1 million gallons, I believe. It's perhaps one of the bigger ones that we do. We do a lot of towers and they work out pretty handy with them being gravity fed. You don't have to worry about priming the pump, and obviously the gravity helps with your flow rate.
So this pump in particular, Deck, what makes it like a slightly higher spec than your average kind of pump?
Well, we added a few specifications on. It's not just your standard pump. We had a pressure gauge added on, so we can see what pressure it's running at, so you know we don't blow any pipes or what have you.
Is that something you have to keep an eye on then?
Yeah. As long as it's below 10 bar, we sort of run it at. And we've got an hydraulic loader on it that sat around for a little while, and we didn't put it on a pump, but that boosts, you know, another 4,500 gallon an hour.
How exactly does that work then?
It's just applied on a spool, so you've got your positive in your spool, and then you've got your return on your power beyond, like, so it returns it. It's just doing a full cycle.
Who supplied this pump for you, did you say, Jeff? Where did it came from?
A local place, just at Nantwich, same place as near to the dealer of the tractors. Spread wise, I think they cover the UK, perhaps even wherever else, like.
Good company to deal with?
Yeah, I mean, we've dealt with them for parts for the previous pumps. I don't think we've bought a pump off them before now, but we had this power brand new off them, and they did the specifications that we wanted. This pump's only 4 months old, and the Ferrari that we're running is only a couple of months old as well. We were due an upgrade with that. It was pretty worn out, the old Ferrari was, but it's done a lot of work. You know, like you say, the flat out.
How long would you usually run one for?
I suppose it varies on your lagoons and what the customers bed down on, but we sort of don't go to many farms that bed on sand. I think sand's pretty hard on the pumps, wearing them down. So it can be 2 or 3 years, 4 years, perhaps longer.
You notice quite a difference in some of the slurry samples then?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And as to regards the steering upside and how thin your muck is and how much water will come into the lagoon and everything else.
So what tractors are you running on these pumps then today?
We've got two 6R155s.
Is that an average size tractor for this kind of job, or?
I'd imagine so. I've seen a lot of people running them. These pumps require any 150 horsepower plus. Really, you wouldn't want any less on one. You know, the odd time they'll be down a bit on power, sort of running your boost as well.
What are you sort of sitting here drinking a day? What's it working on?
It'll use a tank every perhaps 11 or 12 hours, constant pumping. We sort of work out it'll do 320,000 gallons to a tank of muck, like depending on how thick it is and how far out you are, but it's around the 300,000 gallon to a tank, and you've got a 270 litre tank on, I believe.
What's the main job that you have to do as pump operator?
Well, it's a bit of a job priming it at times if it decides it wants suck air or what have you. So, you know, if you can get it primed first thing in the morning, you're winning for the day, I would say. Hydraulically driven primer, so you put your spool in for prime it, wait for it to get primed, and then you put your PTO shaft on, and then open your valves and flip your tap to leave it primed up. The odd farm that we go to will perhaps push silage sheets and string in, so we're in the back of the pump cleaning it out, but overall they're pretty good, these pumps are. They will shift muck.
So what exactly are you boys farming yourselves then, Dave?
We're milking around 170. We've got 450, 500 head of beef, fattening and finishing them, and we send them straight off. We have them from calves and rear them right up. We grow all our own corn to feed them, and straw to bed them on.
So you boys put a fair shift in to fit the contractor in around all that as well?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's very tight at times. You know, I'll feed the cows, the milkers, and feed the beefers before I'll go some jobs in the morning. We sort of work it in pretty well, really, between us. We work pretty good together, I'd say. What
else have you got on this time of year then, Dave?
There's a lot of rear discharging, mucking sheds out, applying it to the beet ground. Now we finished lifting.
Yeah, we went out to see Stuart the other day.
Yeah. I think he was at a customer's there. We dug all our own by that point.
The beet job will be quite busy then through the winter?
It is, yeah. It keeps three of us in a full-time job, I'd say. The beet does, delivering it. We grow around 70 acre ourselves.
So you send Stuart off to enjoy himself and
that's it,
get away from it all?
That's it, yeah. He quite enjoys it, I think. We'll drop him a few trailers down and he'll set to.
Right, Stuart, well, something a little bit different for us. We're used to seeing contractors with big self-propelled machines, but that is not the case here. What machine are you running?
It's an Edenhall 3-row trail beet harvester. We're working at Stone at Bury Bank, and we're lifting some late planted beet. That's why it's not over big.
Is this fodder beet, is it, that we're in today?
Yeah, it's fodder beet.
Tell us about the beet side of the business then.
We grow beet for our own, well, we started off growing beet for our own cattle. We found we were quite good at it. We got more beet than we needed, and we started to sell it, and demand for beet grew, and we had an old Garford Victor harvester.
Oh, okay.
And the beet grew and outgrew the Garford. Got to the stage where it was breaking down more often than it was working. The lad just up the road here, where we have share farm with, he's got some light ground where we grow a lot of beet. He spotted this on Facebook. It came from a lad up Leeds. This looked an improvement on what we were using. There's been a few teething problems with it, just getting the hang of it, but it's a fair thing.
So what sort of acreage are you digging with this machine?
It's took about 120 acres this year with the other bits we've done.
So what made you go for a trailed harvester rather than a slightly older self-propelled machine then?
I think we've paid about 18,000 for this. Well, in a self-propelled, you've got nothing for that. I have a mate who's bought a self-propelled, and compared to this, it was antique. It got a belt drive to the walking shares, which he said caused him a lot of trouble slipping.
So tell us a bit about this harvester then, Stuart.
It's got walking shares at the front. It's 3 rows. At some point in its life it's been 4. And the previous owner took one of the walkers and an extra row off, which was bolted onto the right hand side, just for ease of moving it. But it would have been another ½ a metre wide. It's bad enough as it is at the minute. I would think the downside of having another row on it, when it's in a good crop, it can fill that hopper at a fair old rate. You wouldn't get very far before you'd have a hopper full.
What does that hold?
It's alleged to hold 10 tonne, but I think you only get about 7 or 8 in it. But the thing itself's 8 tonne, so when it's getting a bit wet beet digging, it's always back end when it's wet and messy. So you're dragging about 16 tonne about when you've got a full load on. The wheel on the right is driven.
So is it just the right hand wheel that's driven then?
Yeah. You can. You just
you
feel
can feel
it
that.
then.
Yeah. That's all hydrostatically driven then?
Yeah, it's driven off the power beyond on the tractor. It won't push you out of a wet hole if you get stuck, but it'll just help you keep going through it. And that tandem bogie there extends in and out. When you're opening up a row, you can pull it in so it follows the tractor wheel better, or misses the beat.
What's the reason for that then?
I think it's to spread the compaction so that you can put that wheel outside your tractor wheel, but where we've been working here where it was very wet, it made it easier to tow if you got it following the tractor wheel, because in some places we were dragging it through mud.
How does that wheel drive work then? Does that kick in when it needs to, or do you have to control that, or?
You turn it on this control panel, and apparently it's got some kind of a load sensor on it. This controls how much it pushes. All the functions are worked off the tractor, but the walkers and the elevator are all worked off them pump, and that upright thing is a tank, and all the chassis up this side is tank. It's got an awful lot of oil on board, but I think underneath there's power takeoff doesn't drive anything, only oil pumps, and I think there's 6 or 8 of them under there.
And what tractor are you running on this machine?
This is a John Deere 195.
Would this be a suitable size tractor for this kind of harvester? Or?
Yeah, the chappers we've run it on a 175 before we had this, and we've also got a 185, and that'll handle it okay. We wouldn't want anything smaller than the 185. When the going's a bit rough, the 185 does just struggle with it when it's really wet.
It's just pulling it, isn't it, I suppose?
Yeah, well, this is a bit longer wheelbase, and it helps it go through the wet areas. Horsepower-wise, it's got more than enough. It's got 1,000 PTO drive on it, and we run it about 800. I had the Swedish man over that built it in the spring, because we managed to burn some of the wiring out.
Is it Sweden they're built then, is it?
Yeah, it's Swedish built, yeah.
I was just about to ask, how do you sort parts for it? Because am I right in thinking these harvesters aren't made anymore?
No, when the chap was over here talking to him, they stopped making them because the cost of making one of these was more or less was very little different from a self-propelled. Up to now we haven't had any trouble. The lad in Sweden still got quite a stock, or I think most of them he can make. And we get them off him via Riley's. The walking shares on the front, they're all same as on the Vivats.
So really, for a machine that's discontinued, it's quite easy to get parts for then, really, and keep moving?
So far, yeah.
And what do you think of the control box there? Is that a handy piece of kit to work with?
It's all right when you get the hang of it, but the book needed a bit of reading to get the hang of it.
Talk us through the joystick there then.
You've got left and right on the drawbar, and then you've got a trigger on the back of it, and that moves the header unit side to side as well. You've got up and down on it, and you pull the trigger and set the depth on the top of there. See that number on the top?
Yeah.
That indicates the depth of the shares. The depth and the side to side are automatic, and you can have automatic on the drawbar, which I don't tend to use a lot, because that seems to be its biggest weakness. It seems you look round and the drawbar's dragged it off the row for some reason. But when you've got the auto steer on the tractor, it doesn't really get. The drawbar steers when you run out of movement on your header. The sensors on the either end of the ram which move the lifting unit about. And when it runs out of travel on there, it moves the drawbar.
Nice clean Beet today though, Stuart.
Yeah, it's cleaning it well today when it's pretty dry.
Is it a good harvester for that, or?
Yeah, it does clean it. It cleans it better than we did with the old Garford. The star rollers has carried it to the back with a web over the top of it. And then it's got that elevator up the top with fingers which carry it up, so anything on them while it's being lifted up drops off. Then once it's in the hopper, there's another star roller at the bottom of the elevator, and the bed chain winds it to the elevator, and it tends to bounce about on the bottom of the elevator over the star. It's a bit like a cleaner loader.
How do you find running a trailed harvester then? Do you have to hope for a real good dry season, or?
No, it seems okay. We've done some in some real wet. Once you've got a couple of rows out, it always seems to be dry where the beet's been. Have you seen some of the ruts around the outside of here where we started? It wasn't very clever when we started off in here.
So have you had many breakdowns of this machine then? Has it been reliable to you, or?
Yeah, there's been one or two. The gearbox go the other day, and the main gearbox went last week, but that was a bit of operator error.
Should we not talk about that then, or?
No, probably not too much. No, we've been checking the gearboxes and checking the oil and all the others, but that one looked. That one was a bit frightening. We never dared mess with it. But anyway, we had to mess with it. But anyway, we got pulling it pulling it to pieces. It was quite simple. It's just got 6 bearings in and some seals, and it looked like it had never had any oil in since we've had it. Unfortunately, it hasn't done any serious damage. It just, because it got 6 bearings and the bearing lad hadn't got that many in, they keep 3 or 4 of everything, but not half a dozen. So it was just a matter of waiting till the next day to get some bearings.
And how has the season been for you this time?
Oh, not bad at all. We dig it as we need it until we get to this time of the year, and then it's all got come out.
Is there a lot of beets grown in your area?
No, we grew it just for something different. My nutritionalist said the cows wanted a different forage. We could only really grow grass silage where we are at home. So we thought we'd try them with beet, and it worked very well for the cows. They seem to eat just as much silage and the beet as well. It does seem to have caught on a bit better. About 30 years ago there was quite a bit of beet grown, but it was the soil in it, they couldn't get it cleanly off. But this thing seems to fetch it up pretty clean. And
Right, I think we've covered everything.
brilliant. Not your most willing interviewee, but we managed something for you.